I'm cutting my hair. Ooh. Okay, this is the lunar hair chart that I'm following. And this lunar hair chart was developed by a hair shaman. His name's Anthony Morocco. And what a lunar hair chart does is it follows the cycle of the moons. It takes into account the equinoxes, the solstices. It is taking into account the Farmer's Almanac, Western astrology, as well as the Mayan calendars. So he has studied all of this for 20 plus years and come up with this lunar chart to get the best benefit for whatever goal you have for that month for your hair. So in this program, there's like 5 different goals, right? So you have strengthening, you can work on lengthening, you can work on beautifying, you can work on root work, and what's the other one? What did I miss? Oh, thickening. So there's 5 goals, and let's see. We're doing our haircut on the 19th of January, which is root work. So I'm kind of just starting. To me, root work is like the foundation for me. That's like a really good goal to start with. So that is the one that I'm going to be doing tonight. And I am using these scissors. These are blunt snip scissors. Now, I've seen a lot of debate on whether you would want to use blunt snip or just the others. Like, I don't know how many hairdressers actually use blunt snip because it is just going straight across, right? But according to this method, is blunt snip is actually really good for preventing fraying or thinning or damaging your hair for future growth. And so that's why we're using this. And besides, it's really simple to do on your own too. So, but what you want to do is you want to just, you want to have a squirt bottle that works so you can get your hair wet. My squirt bottle isn't working. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now we go. Okay, so I'm just going to wet this. And we're going to do this to each side. You're just going to separate your hair out. And sometimes it's good if you can just do this right after a shower or something, you know, then you don't have to worry about that. Okay. And you'll notice that I have these bangs that I don't know, I wanted to have bangs once upon a time. I don't know if anybody else have asked. Ooh, bangs are so cute on some ladies. I think, oh, I want bangs. And I forget that I have these callus and these wrinkles up there, and I'm like, that's why I never have them. So anyway, we're trying to throw those out. But basically, so you want to start at the front of your hair, and you're just going to take it into tiny sections. I mean, they don't have to be super tiny, but really this is so simple. All is you're just kind of combing it so you don't have, so you get it all straight, and then you're taking your fingers all the way to the bottom, and you really want to do like 1/8 of an inch. Really, like, you're not taking that much, you're just snipping the ends. Nothing is why you can't go wrong with this way. I'm gonna go a little bit thicker here. One thing he says that I have a really hard time with is not going back and kind of nitpicking things, or like, if you know, I see split every once in a while throughout the month, especially if I'm like using heat on my hair, which I try not to do too much, and then I want to just sit with scissors and, you know, cut all those out, and he doesn't suggest you do that. Let me just get all my bangs out of the way, and then we can start with my longer hair. Yeah, don't worry about them. Just don't worry about them, he says. That's hard not to worry when you just want to like look at your hair. I don't know if I see him, but I will say, like I mentioned, I've been doing this for like 7. This is my 6th month. And so you can either like stay with one goal if you want. If you know you want to just work on your roots, you can do that multiple times throughout the year, or rotate through all 5. You know, like next month I'll feel like I want to work on maybe strengthening my hair, you know, and so just pick a goal that works for you and what you're hoping to accomplish with your hair growth for 2024. And actually, I don't want to take that much off because last month I got a little crazy. I took a little bit more off, and so I don't want to take as much off this time. And I have these little baby hairs. This is a good indicator of like hair growing back, and I have some over here too. That's always a nice sign, isn't it, when you're struggling with hair loss and whatnot. And there's a lot of good herbs out there for your hair, and I do a yarrow tea rinse like 3 times a week. And the reason why I'm doing that now, it's kind of an experiment, because there's a doctor, an herbal doctor who I'm currently studying under, who he actually promises this, so I'm putting him to the test. But he claims that if you rinse your hair with yarrow tea 3 times a week, your hair will go from gray to the natural color of your hair, whatever you were born with. And because it's herbs and things like that, and our bodies take time, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, and everybody's different, and that's what he says. But typically about 6 months to a year. And during that time, you should see like it lightening up, you have less grays, that sort of a thing. And so I'm putting him to the test, you guys. I'm doing my rinse because I want to see if that's true or not. Now, I know there's a few people that have done it. Those anecdotal evidences where this lady had really beautiful strawberry blonde hair, and then she went gray, and then she remembered what this doctor had told her about yarrow tea, and so she started doing it, and in over a little bit over 6 months, she had beautiful strawberry blonde hair again. And one thing that I'm trying to do, see, this is just a very easy process. This is all there is to it, get in here. Sometimes I've even done this just watching TV. I guess that's the beauty of having long hair, right? You can just, all right, I can do this. Put a towel over my lap, got this. But, I mean, as women, I mean, I think it's great if you want to go all natural and just let the gray come in. Some of us are just not quite ready to do that, right? And but at the same time, there's a trade-off, because if you're going to constantly be dyeing your hair with chemicals, that's going to take a toll, right? And so I didn't want to subject my hair to that. So instead, I turned to henna. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar with henna, but there are some downfalls to henna, but there are some wonderful benefits to henna. And one of them being that it is all natural. I gotta wet my hair again because it's getting dry. But henna is an all-natural hair dye, so you're not dealing with any chemicals on your hair. And obviously, if you Google it or whatever, you're gonna find people who love it and people who hate it. I am one of those that I love it. But depending on, I mean, there's a lot of henna companies out there that you can buy from, and some are hybrid where they're not like complete 100% henna, and some are. So the one through this hair shaman Anthony Morocco, his henna are pure, and the process to henna your hair is quite lengthy. Now, just to get the henna to process, like how you have to process the hair dye and stuff, and it's usually ready in like 5 minutes. Well, your henna will be ready in about 12 hours, so plan ahead. Not every henna is like that. I've dealt with a company where it's not, but this particular one is you brew up your water, you put it on your henna, the powder, and then it has to set, because it has to change colors. That's kind of how you know. But anyway, and then you kind of just paint it on with your paintbrush, right? Your hairbrush, not your hairbrush, but like the dye brushes they use. I don't know what they're called. But then you do that, and every time I henna my hair, it just makes it so shiny, and it's so beautiful. I love it. Now my hair is naturally red, and so I just put a little mix of red just to cover my gray roots that are coming in, until my natural hair goes back to the natural hair with yarrow tea, right? The natural color. That's what we're hoping for. But anyway, what was I saying? Henna. Henna's a great way to go if you don't want chemicals, but it does take time, and time is not something we have a lot of, right? And one drawback to henna is that once you go to henna, you can't lighten your hair. Henna is not a lightener, so whatever hair color you have, it's probably going to react a little bit differently, right? Because of the base that it's going on. But you can't lighten it. It's always going to make your hair darker. And then once you're in the henna mode, you have to wait a few months before if you wanted to go and get lightened, like any chemical dye, you are going to have to wait a few months before you go get your chemical dye, because you really don't want to ruin your hair. You don't want to kill it by doing that and then going that. It just isn't going to react very well. And something that I've wanted to do is lighten my hair. I mean, I want it to go back to the lighter red that it is. And it's hard because there's not many tricks out there that you can do. Whoops, I just dropped my comb. There's not many tricks you can do out there that'll lighten your hair once it's henna. So it's got to be a commitment that you're ready to embark on and see how it goes, right? But that's not to say that you can't go and get it lightened eventually if you didn't like it. But I've had good experience with it, and so I'm happy with it. And so far, I'm really digging this lunar haircut cycle. And thanks for joining me. Like I have to do it by yourself. You can have your hairdresser cut your hair like whatever. I mean, my hair is pretty easy maintenance because there's not upkeep, and I mean, like, I'm literally taking like just that much off. I'm just straight edging, clipping the ends, trimming it up. It's like a pruning, right? We have to prune ourselves. But I'm only going to do this side, and then I'm going to explain like what you do once both sides are done, but I'm not going to do it, and then that will be the end of January's lunar cycle. And then we'll see, like, we'll look at the goals for February, and you guys can, you know, look at the goals and see if there's one that you would want to do and the dates. And if anybody wants a lunar chart, you can let me know, or there's a lot online, and some maybe differ, I don't know. Like I said, this one I'm using is from a hair shaman named Anthony Morocco, and he's got a website out called Morocco Method, where you could find out all kinds of information about anything. And I'm telling you this, but I don't, you know, if you're doing your research, because sometimes when you're wanting to go all natural and stuff, there's a lot of information to just glean through and find a program or find support or find something that is going to work for you, right? Because that's all that matters, is you find something that works for you and that you're happy with, and stick with it. And there are times where I have set a goal, and then the day comes and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot. So then I'm like, well, I'll set another goal, what's left for the month, and we'll go do that. I'm a pretty flexible person. I'm not very rigid in my programs, my scheduling, my time management. Probably something I could work on, but anyway. I mean, how boring would it be if we didn't have anything to work on, right, on ourselves? But then at the same time, gotta give ourselves a little bit of grace, right? Don't wanna. You gotta find the beauty and the positive about yourself too, not all the things that need work. And then surround yourself with people who are supportive, good positive energy. Because I don't know about you guys, but I am my own worst critic. And so I need to surround myself with friends who give me a little grace and don't see all the flaws that I see in myself, right? Yeah, this is super simple, you guys. And the cycle of the moon right now is most beneficial for a hair goal that has to do with root work. So if you're wanting to do any root work, today's your last day for January. I mean, you can start it in February, but this is the very last day for root work. But there's more goals to be had in January. It's not all just about root work, but that's just the one I wanted to start the new year off with. Just a good foundation of cutting your hair, get the most benefit for root work. Now, what's also interesting about the lunar hair cycle, it's not just about cutting your hair on good days for growth. There's also days of the month that are best for, not only is the lunar haircut something to follow for hair growth, but it's also for any elimination of hair. So there's like days of the month where it's better, ow, I think I just gave myself a knot. It's better to shave on certain days of the month. It's better to pluck on certain days of the month. Wax on certain days of the month. Now, as I mentioned before, like I'm using a specific kind of scissor dedicated to, it's a blunt snip type of style. And so next time you go to your hairdresser, you can ask her if she's familiar with that or he's familiar with that. And, you know, maybe they like that technique, maybe they don't. I don't know. I used to go to the hairdresser quite often. In fact, you know, when you find a good one and you have your hairdresser for years and then they come to you and say they're moving or they're done, that is so sad. I mean, I can totally get why people go out of state to follow their hairdresser. Like, I gotta fly to my hairdresser and get my hair cut today. 'Cause it's nice to have somebody who cuts your hair real nice, right? Like, I spent a summer in Virginia one year, and I mean, granted, I was going through a hell of a thing at that time. My husband had just passed away, and so I needed to get some space or whatever, and I went to this hairdresser in Virginia, and I went in with a picture that I thought was super cute. My hair was short at the time, and I said, I want my hair to look like that. And she goes, don't show me a picture that your hair can't do. And I'm like, well, I don't know what my hair can do. Anyway, I should have walked out at that moment, but I didn't. I let her cut my hair, and it was the worst haircut ever. It was so sad. But I think we've all been there, right? I think we've all been where we've had the worst haircut ever. And so that's why we love our hairdressers when we find a good one. And then when they leave, it's sad. Or when we move or whatever and have to start all over. I know my mom had a hairdresser for us. That was it was our hairdresser. I have two sisters, and she did our hair for everything. Hair for our weddings, hair for competitions, haircuts every so often. And well, back in the day, perms were huge. So we were always getting perms, and that was another thing too. Like, I didn't know my hair had natural wave to it until I was in high school, because I was finally like, Mom, I'm done with the perms. And then all of a sudden my hair was like wavy, and I'm like, oh, my hair's already wavy, and we spent all that time in chemicals and on perms and stuff. But yeah, we loved our hairdresser. She did everything. And then she had to move, and it was super sad. Okay, I'm done with that side. So I'm not going to do the other side because we'd be here all night, and who wants that? But I'm going to show you how. So the last part of cutting your hair with this technique is that once I get this side done, then what you're going to do is you're going to come from the middle, right? So you're going to take from both sides, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to bring it down, and you're going to snip, and then you're going to just keep going back. And so this is the blending part. And I mean, you're really, because you're taking such little amounts off, but that's the last, is you're going to go back. And that is the one that I'm like most klutzy on, because once I get back here, my hair's so long, and I'm like, and then I'm trying to like clip it out of my eyes. It's just a mess. And maybe one day I'll show you. You'd think 5 months of doing it, I'd have it down, but I don't. But that is it. That's all the lunar haircut is all about, is doing little snips on your hair. I will say the blunt snip technique. That's what that's all about.